Hello once again everyone and welcome back. This week I have decided to do something new. Sure, I have reviewed movies before and all, but this time I'm going to be reviewing a childhood favorite of mine, that being Brother Bear. Now, I know the movie isn't the best loved of Disney's films, and it has quite the reputation with it, but I do personally enjoy the movie, especially since I've seen it 100 times throughout my life. But yes, let's begin, shall we? Okay, so for those who don't know, Brother Bear is an animated movie in 2003 by Disney, not Pixar, but the actual Disney group. You know, back when they would actually release traditionally animated movies. This, however, is one of the last films to be animated traditionally at Disney, as the company decided to move almost entirely to 3D animation shortly afterwards. The only other one I can remember after 2003 was The Princess and the Frog, which I enjoyed quite well enough. The movie is about Kenai, who becomes a man by becoming a bear, while in between going on a journey of his own. Throughout the review, I hope to go in further about this, but we will see on that. Before I get into my own thoughts on the movie, I will point out that there is a set of reviews by the user BigManX, and they're some of my favorite on this movie. Many of the jokes I would make were used by him in his videos on the movie, and I find it quite enjoyable. But I won't go on that here. I will also try avoiding stuff he comments on as well, so you can actually watch his video too. Quite detailed his is for just a handful of minutes each. I'll link them below if interested, but anyways, back to the movie. The movie starts off decently enough with that grand old Disney formula and beautiful scenery and backgrounds, along with lots of beautiful traditional effects. There is the usual Disney song playing over everything in the beginning, of course. To me, I really like the song. It's good enough in my mind, plus I like that it isn't performed by Phil Collins here. Now, I don't necessarily hate Phil Collins, but he's not one I tend to listen to at all that much. But yes, behind the song is the opening events of the movie. You can see the way of life of these native peoples long ago, when mammoths still roamed the earth and all. After the song, we get introduced to the three brothers Kenai, Sitka, and Denahi. Denahi, by the way, is voiced by Jason Mraz in his only film role before his death, shortly after this movie. He is also known for playing Simba in the musical for The Lion King. Kenai being played by Joaquin Phoenix, you likely know him from other films, and Sitka being played by D.B. Sweeney. Sitka is the oldest of the three, Kenai being youngest. From here you can see their brotherly bond as they try getting ready for the big manhood ceremony. By the way, I will glance over certain bits during the movie, and I apologize, but I got to narrow this down somehow. I'm thinking it's going to be quite long. Plus, I assume many watching have seen the movie and just want to hear me blabbing away about it. So yeah, I got the DVD version from when it came out and got behind the scenes stuff. So now I know lots of little facts too. Very interesting to watch the behind the scenes of a movie, by the way. All the things that go on too are fun. But yes, again, back to the movie. A few moments later, the brothers in the tribe find that the shaman woman Tanana is back, played by Joan Copeland. The village rushes to go to her, making Kenai distractedly tie up a fish basket he was meant to tie up well, holding the entire tribe's fish. This will come back to bite him, surely. But this is the first part of the movie, or the first act as I call it, I really enjoy. I like the glimpse into native life, not an angle seen too often. By the way, I'm very interested in Native American history and such, if curious. I also love the scenery and the animation. Before moving on, I will say the animation is pretty good. I also love the shading that Disney uses here in this movie. If Disney hadn't been practically forced by the Shrek wave to move to 3D animation, I think they could have taken traditional animation a step further. I really love how smooth this movie is, and that the shading and lighting is superb. The tribe gathers at the ceremony, and Kenai receives his totem, which will guide him through his life. Think of it like a zodiac. He gets the totem of love, which is a bear. He is upset by this, and he is seen so after the ceremony. This doesn't last long, however, as Denahi finds the basket to have been attacked by a bear because Kenai didn't tie it up. This escalates until Kenai decides to go after the bear to get the basket back in seemingly a form of revenge. Kenai subsequently tries to fight the bear and is thrown off a cliff. His brothers, who are trying to search for him, see this and try coming to his rescue. This escalates until Sitka makes the choice of sacrificing himself to save his brothers, and by driving his spear into the glacier, he breaks it around the bear and himself, thus leading to a collapse of the glacier. One spear likely wouldn't break a glacier, by the way, but Disney movie, you're meant to take leaps in logic at things like this, so it makes it funner to watch a movie. This is where Sitka dies. The brothers try going down the glacier to try finding him in the water below, but cannot find him. He is presumed dead, and the tribe holds a funeral of sorts back in camp at the cave where the ceremony had taken place not long before. This is an emotional peak of the movie, as the death comes so early in the film. When younger, this really moved me, and it still does to a certain extent. Sitka's death leads Kenai to try hunting for that bear since it had lived, and so Kenai tries to go for revenge since he says the bear killed his brother. Denahi tries to stop him and be a voice of reason since Sitka is no longer able to provide that role. And I approve of Denahi here. The bear didn't kill Sitka in my mind, and this violence won't stop or accomplish anything. This doesn't seem to last long, however, and any integrity that Denahi had is lost as moments later in the movie, Kenai goes on to chase after the bear. The chase leads him to a literal peak in the movie, pun intended. At the top of the mountain, it's just Kenai and the bear. He tries to attack, but is eventually able, after a bit of fighting, he gets a lucky shot and kills the bear. But before Denahi can come to rescue Kenai from this fight, Kenai is transformed into a bear. I believe this to be the most beautiful scene in the movie. After the transformation scene and my favorite musical moment of the movie, Kenai is now a bear. Denahi has now made his way up the mountain and sees Kenai as a bear. Denahi, however, doesn't notice this is actually Kenai and thinks that it's just the bear having likely consumed or killed his brother based on the clothes and weapon lying on the ground. A lucky lightning strike hits just between the two, making Kenai tumble off a mountain. Again, just let it happen. More fun to watch than make logical conclusions. Thus ends Act 1. To me, I enjoy Act 1 the most. I again love the native life and culture. The scenery and animation is great and all as well. I do feel it alone could be stretched down and made into its own full-length movie or TV movie, either way. But yes, now we gotta go on to Act 2, or at least that's what I call it. Now Kenai has been transformed into a bear, and thus begins his journey to becoming a man. Sure, alright, like that makes sense. Sing Life Through Another's Eyes and all, we got it. Gotcha. Good idea, movie. Here's where the movie really drags for me. There's the introduction of Kota, and he will be Kenai's little brother figure throughout the rest of the movie. When I was younger, sure, I liked Kota, but he's not grown on me too well over time. I still like him and he has his moments, but overall, yeah. Kenai falls into a trap, and this is where Kota is introduced and eventually helps him down after a lot of padding ensues. Kota then runs off as Kenai is found again by Denahi, who just so happened to be hunting in the same exact area as Kenai was in. Go figure. They escape, but get a close call. From here, Kota and Kenai bond within another glacier as they try sleeping through the night. On and on they go through a musical number to mask all the character development and likely to save us from a lot of cheesy dialogue, keeping the movie more ageless, as it were. The musical number is the big middle song in the movie. It's On My Way, and it's performed by, you guessed it, Phil Collins. I really don't like this song, at all, so I won't go into it here. I can review the soundtrack another time anyway. But yes, the characters bond while being masked over by a Phil Collins song. Hooray! Oh, and I forgot to mention there are these two moose in the film. They are the ones I hate the most in this film. I can't stand them, and they serve literally no purpose except near the end of the movie. But we'll get to that if I remember to. Otherwise, I'll likely skip over parts with the moose in it. I really don't like them. They're not good characters. I don't like all the forced and comedic characters in Disney movies, or really any movies. I know they're putting in some movies can be saved from a non-family friendly rating, but still, they're so annoying. Okay, after On My Way, the movie just stalls for a bit, except for a few good moments when Kota and Kenai bond, like when they're riding the mountains and they talk about the spirits, among other things. All this time, Kenai is just hoping to get transformed back into a man. That sounded bad, but he is slowly warming up to Kota like in a brotherly way. The acting here is good for the movie. I enjoy the emotional moments. The sillier stuff I find to be bleh, but alright for others, none I really hate. Soon after, they get off the mammoths and the two have a bit of a fight, soon making up for it once the two bears find a human cave. Then here is where Kenai learns a lot about the animals' view on humans. This is a key point in the movie and one I find quite memorable. I enjoy the acting and obviously the scenery and animation. I've already went through that many times. Kota, played by Jeremy Suarez, is really good here. The voicing is very well done, cinematography is good and all, and soon they're back on their way, no pun intended, Coda knows where they are, and this so happens to be a wasteland. This is where they have to cross in order to get to the Salmon Run, which is near the mountain Kenai is trying to get back to. The two barely make it out alive from the wasteland as Denahi has come back, having tracked them down yet again. Give him an A for effort here, guys. He's quite persistent. He tries to get at the two bears, but misses when the log they escaped on is collapsed. He falls into the water far below, but is still alive. He'll reappear later. Coda and Kenai now eventually have made it to the Salmon Run. This is where I believe the third act kinda starts. It's a little blurry. Another song montage later, and the whole group of bears at the Salmon Run have met up to tell their stories of the last year. Here's where I find one of the most impressive moments of the movie. This is where Coda is finally telling his story. The drama and suspense of it is all great, and so is the animation and visuals. It is revealed here that the bear Kenai had killed was actually Coda's mother. He realizes this and then runs off, or tries to. Now suddenly having everything connecting in his mind. The one he had grown so close to and thought of him as a brother is now abandoned because he had killed his mother. Not often for a hero in a Disney movie to be really the villain of the movie, or at least the one who did the killing. Right after this, Coda finds out that Kenai had left, so he goes and tries to find him. Now here's where the movie should hit its highest point. Kenai has to tell Coda what had happened, right? Well, that's how it would have worked. Disney is great with emotional and hard-hitting moments like this, but instead they put a Phil Collins song over it. I did watch a deleted scene version and I enjoyed it more as there was no song and you heard the reveal of all this. That was much more emotional and all, and it wasn't even fully rendered. It was in sketches. That shows how great the scene could have been. Don't get me wrong, the scene's not awful per se. It still pulls hard on those heartstrings and it still gets me tearing up at it. I especially love the song and the score that goes here, but that's a story for another time. Coda is completely destroyed and broken from this, and quite understandably so, and runs off, being betrayed by someone he thought he could trust all this time. It is a very hard scene on me, and I really do think it's a highlight in the movie. I don't hate the Phil Collins song here, I just don't think it should have been added. Keep it to the soundtrack, you know? But yes, Kenai also goes off, unable to find Coda, and eventually makes it to a mountain to be changed back. He is broken himself and desperate, having nothing left, he feels. His oldest brother is dead, his older brother is trying to hunt him, and his only other friend, being Coda, and clearly not doing well after that reveal, is not even anywhere to be seen. Coda, meanwhile, is approached by the moose. This is the only time they're integral to the movie, and it's only for a few lines. They convince Coda to go back to Kenai, but not directly saying so. Then that is it. They don't appear again for the rest of the movie. They really could have been cut out otherwise. Maybe if this was their only scene and not just comedic foil characters, then maybe they'd have worked better on me. I don't know. Kenai climbs the mountain, and once near the top, Denahi has found him. Denahi has been driven to insanity by this point in his hunt to avenge his brother's death. Considering what happened with Ray shortly after this movie, his performance and character here are really impactful and depressing. But yes, Denahi attacks Kenai, still not knowing it was his brother, and Coda somehow shows up in time to try saving Kenai. Suddenly, Sitka's spirit comes down and then transforms Kenai back into a man. Denahi sees this and is understandably shocked. Same with Coda, who hides away from the humans, as previously had mentioned in the other scenes. Kenai wishes to be turned back into a bear, seeing how Coda really needs someone to be there for him now that Coda has no one to protect and raise him. Sitka grants this, and after an emotional scene, he vanishes once again along with Coda's mother's spirit. This whole final battle scene, I really enjoyed it. It's a great point in the movie. Another highlight. Disney can really do the suspenseful stuff very well. The movie basically ends here as Kenai gets his handprint on the wall along with his ancestors, indicating that he is now a man after his Johnny, even as he's being a bear. Then that's it. That's really the end of the movie. Credits roll and everything. One thing I found out interesting in the credits was Coda and Tug were brothers. I don't know how, but sure. I know Tug was meant to be Kenai's brother in the original scripts and ideas of the movie, but yeah. Interesting. I will skip over what I learned about the movie and the bonus stuff. I fear I may be the only one interested in that sort of information. Also, while looking through the credits, I am sad to say Brother Bear was not a Pixar film. Even The Lion King was a Pixar film. Oh yes, we'll get to that one real soon. But yeah, the movie ends here. So what did I think of the movie overall? I loved the movie. Good solid movie. Though some parts really could have been cut out in my mind. Other parts could have been changed and lots could have been reworked, but yeah, overall it's a good, enjoyable movie. Solid A for me. Not the worst movie ever by Disney, and not the best. I have others in mind for the worst anyhow. But yeah, solid A, though maybe a B if I add in the stuff I didn't like as much and really thought over them longer and lingered on them. But even that is the lowest I would ever give it. Overall, everyone still has different opinions, but yeah, this is my thoughts, and I think it's a decent film. Some parts may be more enjoyable than others, but yeah, that is it. I do have many thoughts about the movie, and I can see many ways things could be better, and how they could have changed the movie to make it a bit better and still keep their Disney style to it. Yes, I say I love the movie, but I got criticisms for it too. Just because you love something doesn't mean you can't find flaws in what you love. I also did have other comments I could have made, or jokes that could have been made, but most of those were already said in the videos I pointed out from before. But I did have two thoughts after watching the movie again. One, is this movie one of the reasons why transformation is a popular thing in fetish? In the fandoms I have known, I've seen quite a few correlations. Two, you have no idea how many times I have thought about the transgender themes on play here. Another being kind of stated prior, but Kenai is sort of the bad person here. We are meant to root for him, but he really isn't that good of a guy. Even as he is forgiven, in quotations, and the characters move on and all, I still don't see him as the good guy. Just personal thoughts. On that vein, there's technically no villains in this movie unless you want to make the stretch that this movie is trying to pull a Bambi on us and trying the humans are evil theme on this. Sure, that is a theme alluded to, but it's not the main one in my mind. And that just about does us here today. I hope you enjoyed this review, and maybe look into watching the movie yourself sometime if you haven't already. Next week I plan to take a look at its soundtrack as I didn't have the time to look over the music here. If you liked the video, do let me know in the comments and or leave a like. Subscribe if this interested you at all, but yes, this has been Natty, and I wish you all a very good day.